Hello and welcome to this new grammar video. Before we start, I have a question for you. What would you do if you ever won the lottery? You don't know? Are you sure? Well, I do. What would you do if you ever won the lottery? If I ever won the lottery, I would do two things. First, I would stop working. If I ever won the lottery, I would stop working. And second, I would travel all around South America. I would travel all around South America if I ever won the lottery. These three sentences and the question are all examples of second conditional. We use second conditional when we want to talk about conditions that are unreal now, that is, in the present. These conditions, as you can imagine, will have a result that is also unreal and also in the present. In other words, both the condition and the result can be imaginary or untrue, sometimes even impossible. It's a little confusing, right? Let's analyze it with this example. If I could travel back in time, I would like to have a conversation with Eloy Alfaro. The condition, if I could travel back in time, is imaginary. In fact, it is impossible because we cannot travel back in time. And the result, I would like to have a conversation with Eloy Alfaro, is also impossible or imaginary because we cannot have a conversation with dead people. It is necessary to tell you that the most common use for the second conditional is to talk about situations in your present that you don't like and that you would like them to be different. For example, if I had a less demanding job, I would spend more time with my girlfriend. In reality, I have a really demanding job and I cannot spend time with my girlfriend. If Mafer were taller, she could be a supermodel. In reality, Mafer is not tall, so she cannot be a supermodel. If Paul spoke English well, he would travel to Australia for his next vacations. In reality, Paul doesn't speak English well, so he will not travel to Australia on his next vacations. How do we write a second conditional sentence? As you know, a conditional has two parts, the if clause and the result sentence. In the second conditional, we start the if clause with the word if. Then we use a subject, which can be a noun or a pronoun. After that, we write the verb, which has to be in past simple. Huh? Wait a minute. The sentence talks about the present, but the verb is in past? Why? Don't panic. Relax. This is because everything we are saying is imaginary. Let's continue. After the verb in past simple, we complete the sentence by writing an object. The result sentence uses the subject, a modal verb, which we will see in a moment, the main verb that is always in infinitive, and finally an object if it is necessary. What are modals? A modal is an auxiliary verb that expresses necessity or possibility. In second conditional, modals are usually found in the result sentence, depending on how certain or sure we are about the result. The modal would is used to explain that we are very sure of the result. For example, if Anna weren't so sick, she and her mom would be at the beach now. Anna and her mom love the beach, and they go there every weekend. But Anna is really sick now, so they aren't at the beach. The modals might and could are used when we are not very sure about the result. Look at these examples. If Pepe trained hard, he could become Mr. Universe. This is a possibility, but I'm not very sure it will happen. If Carolina liked dancing, John might ask her to go to the prom with him. Again, this is just a possibility because we are not very sure that it will happen. Finally, we use the modal verb could also to express abilities. For example, if Bob was a hero, he could fight crime. The sentence says that Bob cannot fight crime now because he doesn't have that ability, as he isn't a hero. We can give advice with the second conditional using the phrase, if I were you. And the result sentence uses would plus the verb in infinitive. Our example says, if I were you, I would take a coat because it's very cold. Finally, we can exchange the position of the if clause and the result sentence, and the meaning of the conditional stays the same. For example, the conditional sentence, if I had money, I would buy a cool car, means the same than I would buy a cool car if I had money. The only difference is that when we use the if clause first, we separate the clause from the result sentence with a comma. Okay, this is the end of this video. Until we meet again, goodbye.